Good morning, second graders. It is Tuesday, March 9th, and this week we are going to be focusing on subtraction strategies, and we're also going to mix in addition strategies because on Thursday we are going to take the assessment to test our knowledge. So we had talked about 4 addition strategies. We talked about base 10, so right where we drew it out. We talked about number line. I'm not going to label it all, just to jog your memory. We talked about decomposing. And we talked about standard algorithm, and I'm just going to write standard. These were the 4 ways that we said that you could solve an addition problem. Now, we are going to talk about how to solve a subtraction problem. Now, when you are solving subtraction problems, you are going to use 3 different strategies, not 4. So you'll use base 10, number line, and standard algorithm, not decomposing. It just gets a little bit too confusing with decomposing, and so we're just not going to do it. All right. So you need a piece of paper and a pencil, and we are going to do a few all together, and then you're going to do some by yourself. So I'm first going to show you how with base 10 and number line, and then we're going to really talk about our standard algorithm, especially when you have to borrow, because that becomes a little tricky. So let's start off. I'm going to do the problem 22 take away 8. All right. You know what? I changed my mind. So just exit it out if you wrote that down. We're going to do a little bit of a bigger number. So we're going to do 32 minus 13. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so the first strategy we're going to use is base 10. So when we're using the base 10 strategy in subtraction, you only build the bigger number. So I want you to look at our 2 numbers, 32 and 13, and I want you to think, which one's bigger? Which one do I need to build? The 32 or the 13? The 32 is bigger, so I have to build that. So on your paper, you're going to build 32 using base 10 blocks. 10, 20, 30. 31, 32. All right, now I want to take away 13. Now I noticed something. Do you notice anything? I have 32 and I want to take away 13. Well, I don't have 3 ones to take away. So remember, this is when we need to go next door. And we need to knock on our friend 10, and our friend 10 says, of course I will break apart and give you 10. So he breaks apart, and we show that by crossing him out, and then we draw the 10 cubes that he broke into. So he becomes 10 ones. Once we're there, then we can subtract the 13 that we need to. So I'm going to cross off 3 cubes, and I'm going to cross off 1 group of 10 because there's a 1 in my tens place. Then I add up what is left, so I have 1 stick left, and these cubes left, so 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So 19 is my answer. Okay, so this was base 10. Now I'm going to do the same problem, 32 minus 13, but I'm going to use a number line. So here's my number line. The first number in my problem tells me where I start. So this 32. Now, I have to remember that if it's a subtraction problem, I don't start here. I don't start at the beginning of my number line. I have to start at the end of my number line. So I'm going to write this number 32, the number that's in my start, at the end of my number line. Once I do that, I can look back at my other number, and that will tell me how many hops of 10 and how many hops of 1 I'm going to take. So I notice that there's a 1 in my tens place, so that tells me that I'm going to take 1 hop backwards of 10. So if I'm at 32, I'm going to take this hop of 10, and now I'm at 22. Okay? So I've got my hop of 1 out of the way, or my hop of 10. And now I'm going to take 3 hops of 1 because there's a 3 in my ones place. So 1, I'm labeling my hops and where I'm landing. 21, 20, 19. So same strategy, or different strategy, same answer. All right. Now I want you to remember what this base 10 looked like, because it's a useful tool to visualize what happens in standard algorithm when you have to borrow. So I'm going to erase these two ways, and we're going to really focus on standard algorithm and how you would use it to solve a problem that you need to borrow. So we just did 32. I'm going to write it down here. 32, upstairs number, minus 13, my downstairs number, equals. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to build this top number just like I would with base 10. Now you don't do this normally, but I just want you to see what's happening. So I just built my 30, right? Because I have a 3 in the tens place, which stands for 30. And I have my 2 ones. Okay, so I've done my upstairs number and my downstairs number. My upstairs number always has to be bigger than my downstairs number. Now I'm going to look at my ones place. Okay, the 2 and the 3 are in the ones place. And just like before, when I did the base 10, and I wanted to take away 13, I didn't have enough ones to be able to do that. Well, I still had that same problem. I have 2 upstairs and 3 downstairs. Well, I can't take 3 away if I only have 2. So in standard algorithm, the way that you show that, instead of Xing out the stick or taking away the stick, here's how you show it. So I'm going to take these away for a second. I had 3 groups of 10, right? I'm knocking next door, so this guy has to go next door still and say, excuse me, can you let me borrow a group of 10? And he always says yes. So this guy is not 3 10s anymore, it's 2 10s. So I'm going to write that. Then this 10 was given to the ones place. It's not a stick anymore. It's 12. So this group of 10 came over and joined with the 2. So 10 plus 2 is 12. And now I can go to my ones place and subtract it. So 12 minus 3 is 9. And then I go over to my tens place, and 2 minus 1 is 1. All right, we're going to do one more together, just standard algorithm, and then you're going to do a few by yourself. And there's also a Boom Deck choice in the yellow box that practices just this. There's 2, there's 1 addition and 1 subtraction. So after you practice on paper by yourself, I want you to practice the boom deck borrowing. All right, so here we go. On your paper, you're going to draw this. So we're practicing standard algorithm and what happens when you have to borrow. All right, so I want to know what 44 minus 27 equals. So first step in standard algorithm is always to look in the ones place first. If the number on the bottom is bigger than our upstairs number, that tells me that you have to borrow. All right, so I gotta go knock on my neighbor's door and ask for a 10, and they always say yes. So I'm gonna cross out the group of 4, and if I had 4 groups of 10 and he's giving 1 away, now I have 3 groups of 10. Okay, then that 10 that he gave away, he gives to this 4. And so instead of 4, this 4 is now 14. And then I can do 14 minus 7 is 7. And then I go to my tens place, and 3 minus 2 is 1. And there's my answer. So now you are going to practice doing 2 by yourself, and then you're going to go over to the boom deck in the yellow box on the choice board and practice more. So let's go. All right. So the 2 that you're going to solve by yourself, 32 minus 15 and 61 minus 26. Okay, now I notice that both downstairs numbers are bigger than the upstairs number in the ones place. So that tells me that you're going to need to borrow, to knock on your friend's door and ask for a 10. This is a harder strategy, or this is harder when it's like this. So practice is key. Practice this, practice the boom deck, and we will continue to talk about this tomorrow. And I hope that eventually this is a strategy that you really love. I'm guessing that out of our 4 addition strategies, you have one that's your favorite, that you go to, that you think is the easiest. And I think that you will also feel that way about the subtraction strategies. You'll either love solving them with base 10 or the number line or standard algorithm. All right, practice, practice, practice.